What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I'm Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2026 BMW X5, courtesy of BMW of York in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So we are in this one today to start because this is an IIHS top safety pick, so gotta love that. Also, this is actually BMW's #1 seller, at least here in the US. It did beat out the X3 last year in sales. In case you were curious, the X5 sold 72,000 units, whereas the X3 sold 68,000, so just by a little bit, but still wanted to mention that. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so there are essentially two different configurations for the 2026 X5. You have the S-Drive 40i going for $67,600, which is a $1,900 bump from the 2025 model year. And then you got the X-Drive 40i, which is going to start at $69,900. But regardless of the configuration that you go with, the power plant on this one is going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 3-liter twin power turbocharged inline 6-cylinder with a 48-volt mild hybrid system that puts out 375 horsepower at 5,200 RPM, 398 pound-feet of torque coming in at 1,800 RPM. Power is going to be sent to the rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which of course you guys know we will be testing out here in a little bit. But 0 to 60 time, approximately 5.3 seconds. That's plenty respectable. Top speed, if you're interested, 155 miles per hour, with MPG numbers coming in at 23 in the city, 27 on the highway, taking premium unleaded fuel, and you get nearly 600 miles of range. It's showing me 571 miles right now between Phillips. That's pretty darn impressive. But anyways, before we do any kind of fun paddle shifter or acceleration test here in the X5, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There's a series of buttons located just to the left of the shifter. Drive modes are going to include Eco, Pro, Comfort, and Sport, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the steering sensitivity. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, and let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are going to react for us here. All right, so there is a full manual shift mode. Let me start by saying that. Let's see if it actually holds the gear here for us. And then we'll get going. Yeah, it's holding first. I love that. Cool. Here we go. I love the little pops. Let me just start by saying that. Yeah, paddle shifters are definitely plenty quick. They are like M paddle shifters, so insanely quick reaction times there. If you wanted to have some fun with them, they are 100% not going to disappoint. That is plenty fine when it comes to paddle shifters. But anyways, found our straightaway here. Let's go ahead and get set up. And by the way, I am in Sport Plus driving mode, so you got that as well. So that is pretty nice. But 3, 2, 1, go. Nice. This thing's quick, man. Like, this is the 40i, the X-Drive 40i, and this thing will definitely get you merged onto any highway here in the US. Plenty quick. And the other thing is, I'm just gonna mention it now real quick, there's a power side bolster button on the side of the seat here, and that got me like hugged in place right now. It's so sticking nice. Like, it's just like a nice little hug when you're doing these accelerations to really hold you in place. But yeah, plenty quick there. 100% not gonna have any issues with that. But to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes do come standard. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at 119 feet. That's plenty respectable there. As far as braking feel goes, it is on the firmer side of things. So 119 feet, by the way, that's plenty fine. That's like borderline sports sedan right there. So that is right where the X5 should be, especially considering this is kind of a larger SUV. So 100% when it comes to the braking. But then touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get a double wishbone type front suspension. In the back, lightweight multi-link integral rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. As far as ride quality goes, it's probably one of the first things I noticed. This is a ridiculously smooth ride, I will say that. So absolutely no issues when it comes to ride quality. Pennsylvania's got a lot of road imperfections, and this thing is just absorbing them so nicely. Here's a manual. yeah, that's plenty fine. As far as steering feel goes, now we'll say it does adjust dependent upon the drive mode that you put it in, so you got something for everybody. If you like a heavier weight to the steering, go ahead and put it in that sport driving mode, or if you want more of a loosey-goosey steering feel, even though it is kind of a little bit more on the heavier side of things, which is a good thing, you could put it in Comfort or Eco Pro or something like that. But ultimately, steering feel is 100% on point, and you can customize it dependent upon what your personal preference is. The other thing is, I love these 10-2 grips on this M Sport steering wheel. I'll get more into that when we get to the exterior, but they are 100% on the thicker side of things, and that is because we have that M Sport package, but that also gives me a better feeling of being in control, so big fan of that as well. As far as cabin noise goes, I got the air on right now, so you guys might be hearing that, but other than that, it's a pretty darn serene cabin. So there is definitely some acoustic laminated glass in this thing, because this is a ridiculously serene cabin. Touching our rear visibility, looking at my rear view mirror here, you know what I love looking at the rear view mirror there? There's second row headrests. They kind of fold flat if the second row is not in use. So right now, there's no blind spots because of them. So I could see 100% perfectly fine out of my rear view mirror because of the way those headrests are designed. So huge fan of that. Also, of course, rain sensing windshield wipers. They do come standard on the X5, so whenever this thing detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on the windshield wipers for you. So kind of like automatic headlights, just one less thing you got to worry about there. And I wanted to mention there is a head-up display I'm looking at right now. I got to take my sunglasses off to really see it well, but it looks absolutely amazing, and that's displaying up on my windshield here. And it is probably, no, it is definitely the best head-up display out there right now. And the reason being is because not only is it crystal clear, but you have different designs. And even when I'm just turning around this neighborhood here, the compass adjusts on the head-up display as I am going here, gives me my speed and speed limit, and then if I were to change the drive mode, it completely changes the look of the head-up display as well. So a lot of times when you change the drive mode, it changes the look of the gauges, but it never changes the look of the head-up display if you have one. But in the BMW X5, it does. If I put it in Eco Pro, you got some Ethereum type of logo up there. If I put it in Comfort, that's probably the best look. I like that. And then Sport's gonna give you a different one as well. So huge fan of the head-up display. That looks absolutely amazing. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2026 BMW X5. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 BMW X5, finished in Tanzanite Blue 2 Metallic. In case you were curious of our exterior color name. And by the way, this is like a $1,900 paint option in case you wanted this, but it's dark blue more or less. But let's go ahead and start with where this one is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 5, indicating that the X5 is built and assembled here in the US. But starting up front, you do have that BMW Active Kidney front grille. You're either going to get satin aluminum or gloss black surrounds, depending upon the configuration that you go with. By the way, if you go with the M Sport package, that is going to give you gloss black surrounds. That is why we have the gloss black with us here today. Bottom corners there, you're going to find some front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination for a little better aerodynamics there. LED headlights with LED daytime running lights do come standard, and they definitely have a nice little design to them. I like those. Automatic feature coming with those headlights though. You also get automatic high beams, so if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. So when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. The other thing I wanted to mention is there is an illuminated front grille available. We don't have it with us here today, but did want to mention that as an option in case you were interested. But that pretty much rounds out the front end of the X5. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, starting all the way to the top there, you're going to find satin aluminum or gloss black roof rails, satin aluminum or gloss black window surrounds then as well. Rear privacy glass does come standard. Then taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They are going to be heated with LED integrated turn signals, and you actually get the power folding feature there as well. Then taking a look down at the wheel setup, 20-inch V-spoke aluminum alloys coming standard. However, there are 20-inch, 21-inch, and 22-inch wheel designs available, and you gotta love those navy blue. It looks like 6-piston front calipers just behind those front wheels there. That looks pretty darn good as well. But anyways, that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, all the way to the top, body colored Char shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just below that, you got the rear window wiper, of course. LED taillights do come standard on the X5. You also have LED license plate lighting back there as well. And then just below it all, this is probably my favorite part of the X5, and this is something they've been doing for a very long time now. You do have integrated dual exhaust outlets. I love how they're integrated into the rear bumper. That's such an high-end look. I absolutely love that. But anyways, you're either going to get matte black or satin chrome surrounds, and we do have the matte black, so they look good because of the M Sport package. But having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so now since we are around to the back of the X5, when it comes to opening that rear lift gate, it is a hands-free power lift gate. Yes, that does come standard, so I absolutely love that. There is a button on the key fob, there is a button on the lift gate itself then as well, but once opened up, cargo capacity behind that second row comes in at 33.9 cubic feet. That's plenty respectable there. If that was not enough space, there is a 40-20-40 split, so the rear seats do fold down pretty darn flat, bumping that up to 72.3 cubic feet then. There is a velour carpeting in the cargo area. I always love that with BMWs. Grocery bag hooks on both sides, chrome plated tie down anchors. You got a cargo cover. There's LED cargo lighting back there. There is a 12-volt power outlet, and then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, there is a spare tire, which I always love to see. So big fan of that. And it's kind of a hydraulic system holding it up too, so I thought that was pretty cool. So then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 37.4 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the second row there. Rear ventilation, of course, does come standard. You get USB charging ports. There's a 12-volt power outlet back there then as well. Rear center armrest with cup holders and storage coming standard. Heated rear seats are going to be optional, and the rear window sunshades actually are optional as well. They go for $250 in case you wanted those, but I think those will look pretty darn good back there. But I love the second row seats. They turned out plenty fine. Then make your way up to the front seats. This is one of the coolest parts. 16-way power adjustable front seats coming standard, and that does include the power side bolsters, which I am a huge fan of. If you want to hug constantly when you're driving this thing, you got it with the power side bolsters, so big fan of that. But leather seating does come standard. Heated front seats come standard. You got ventilated front seats here as well, and very cushiony headrests. I also wanted to mention that they were quite comfortable. So when it comes to seat comfort overall, 100% on point. Definitely can't get much better than that. Then taking a look at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. It is power adjustable. It is leather wrapped. It is heated. And you get the thicker grips with the M Sport package that we have with us here today, and I'm personally a huge fan of that. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key. Got your BMW logo, that's going to be your lock button. All of the rest of your buttons are going to be on the side of the key, including unlock and the button to pop the rear lift gate there. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start, so all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that silver engine start button located just to the left of that shifter there. And so once started up, when it comes to the gauges, it is a 12.3 inch curved digital gauge cluster, and it looks pretty darn good. And again, when you adjust the drive mode, it is going to adjust the look up on the gauges there as well. So anyways, when you put it in a sport driving mode, you get a bunch of red hues. If you put it in comfort, they're kind of like tan and blue hues. If you put it in Eco Pro, it's kind of a lot of blue hues. And again, the head-up display, that's the best part. That's going to adjust dependent upon the drive mode that you put it in as well. But the navigation is going to be front and center. You got a digital speedometer, how many miles you have left until you hit empty. There's speed limit recognition up there. There's your outside temperature. So pretty much everything you could possibly want on a digital gauge cluster. But let's go ahead now and make our way to overall interior quality. A panoramic moonroof is actually going to come standard on the X5. You gotta love that. Alcantara headliner goes for $650 if you wanted that. We don't have that with us here today. One of the best parts though, you get multicolor ambient lighting. That does come standard. I love that. I just put it on blue and turned up the brightness completely to match our exterior. You get wood trim or carbon fiber finishes. There's a bunch of different finishes actually available for this thing, and they all look very, very good. Wireless fan charger just in front of the shifter here. You got your cup holders up there as well, 12-volt power outlet. Everything surrounding the shifter is finished in a gloss black, and then you got the trim details that you end up selecting, so I'm a big fan of that. Within the center armrest then, there's plenty of storage in there. You got a USB charging port in there as well. The other cool thing is just about the passenger side glove box. The X5 logo is going to illuminate in the ambient lighting color that you end up picking, so Big fan of that as well. Also love these texturized climate knobs. I thought that was pretty cool. You got a bunch of hexagonal patterns just behind them. Overall, BMW crushed it with the interior quality, but that's to be expected. This is BMW after all, so 100%, they absolutely crushed it. But let's now go ahead and take a look at the infotainment screen, because this is a massive 14.9-inch infotainment screen. It is a touch screen, but there's also a circular dial-in buttons just to the right of the shifter if that's easier for you when you're actually driving. You got Bluetooth and audio streaming with that, wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Factory navigation system is going to be located up there. You get ambient lighting settings you can adjust, of course. Climate control information. You can check out YouTube, believe it or not, up there. I always like looking at that. There's weather information up there as well. Quite a few app buttons I could probably select here. There's Alexa up there as well. And of course, your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, there are two of them. You're either going to get a 10-speaker hi-fi sound system, or there's an optional Harman Kardon sound system that goes for $875. And we do have that one with us here today, thankfully. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. All right, For King & Country is an incredible group, so look them up, but also really, really good sound system here for the X5. Like, bass was like coming from all directions. It was rumbling this thing, not in a bad way, in a very good way. It's an incredible sound system for the X5 without a doubt, so huge fan of that. But anyways, last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the X5 in reverse, you will find a rear view camera, very, very high quality as well. Extremely high definition, actually. And then to the right, you got that 360-degree monitor, which as always is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the X5 is an IIHS top safety pick, so it's an incredible start right there. Front side curtain airbags coming standard. In the back, you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. Active driving assistant, frontal collision warning, blind spot monitoring system, lane departure warning, speed limit recognition, and plenty others as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts, incredible tech. Love the 14.9-inch infotainment screen. The gauges are incredible. The head-up display, absolutely wonderful. So they crushed it with the tech here. Great interior quality, from all the little finishes to the ambient lighting. BMW just always crushes it with their interior quality, quite honestly. Incredible paddle shifters as well. Overall driving dynamics, I'm just going to throw it into that category because the driving dynamics overall are really, really good in this thing. I think the only constructive criticism I could possibly think of for the X5 is that this thing can get dang pricey pretty darn quick. So at the very beginning of the video, I rambled off the starting prices being in the upper 60s, so like 67, 69,000. However, the one that we're in today goes for around 88,000. So there's so many different options with BMW. It's the same thing for Mercedes-Benz as well. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble very quickly when you're speccing out one of these things, because there are just so many different options available for the X5. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the X5 in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what I've been doing here for 11 years now. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.